I'm CHAR. I am a loving, passionate, and creative human being, indigenous to the exotic island of Jamaica, West Indies. My name, Charmaine, was handpicked by the divine, for I am the quintessence of its core meaning: singer, song, delight. Adult Conversations with CHAR was designed to stimulate wholesome, honest, and provocative dialogue. The ultimate purpose of my platform is to transform lives by empowering people to face their truth, embrace their greatness within, and impact the world for the better. Sandy Cummings is a jazz singer and coach. Her early singing career started in 1970 through 1974. Sandy was born in Brooklyn, New York, and arrived in California in 1953. She lived up and down the state until college and has been in Santa Barbara since 1965. Sandy earned a bachelor's in sociology and a master's in psychology, and is a retired volunteer marriage and family counselor after practicing for 22 years. Cherise Red, raised in the near west suburbs of Chicago. Cherise graduated from Proviso West High School and earned a Bachelor of Arts degree in marketing at Columbia College. Her fondness for all things Chicago was developed at an early age. From this passion, Cherise birthed the persona, Chicago Red, created from the first three letters of her name, her pronoun, and the town she loves. From this persona, Cherise wants to provide commentary on a variety of topics, such as dating over 50, where does the 50-plus crowd hang out, and elder parent care, among other things, from the perspective of a woman. Nina Canuti, a recent DePaul University graduate with a degree in communications and media studies. She is an aspiring astrologer, a tarot reader, and student of life. She has always had a passion for serving and helping others. She loves healing and bringing more love and grace into the world. Her goal in life is to aid others in feeling seen, heard, and loved. Amber Farrington is a multi-gifted creative soul, adapting to life on Earth and discovering how best to be of service to the world at this time. Amber feels called to bring attention to and help heal the physical, mental, and emotional manifestations of trauma passed down through generations of resilient but often misguided people. She recently launched Voice of 10,000, which is a podcast that creates a safe space for healing narcissistic abuse. She looks forward to helping people form genuine soul connections through self-awareness, self-acceptance, and self-love.
Equilateral, trapezoid, isosceles, tetrahedron.
I've never seen a mind like the one your daughter has. You have to see what she becomes.
You have identification on?
We're just on our way to work at NASA, sir.
I had no idea they hired.
There are quite a few women working in the space program.
You know what we're doing here? We're putting a human on top of a missile, shooting him into space, and it's never been done before. I need a mathematician that can look beyond the numbers. Math that doesn't yet exist.
Catherine's the gal for that. She can handle any numbers you put in front of her.
Don't embarrass me.
This wasn't emptied last night?
I'm sorry, I'm not the...
You're a computer at NASA. They let women handle that sort of...
Yes, it's an uphill battle.
Yes, they let women do some things at NASA, Mr. Johnson. And it's not because we wear skirts. It's because we wear glasses.
We go from being our father's daughters to our husband's wives to our baby's mother.
It's crunch time.
My gals are ready. We can do the work.
There's no protocol for women attending.
There's no protocol for a man circling the earth either, sir.
Every time we have a chance to get ahead, they move the finish line. Every time.
We all get there together, or we don't get there at all.
Now, it's good to know NASA hadn't given up on good old-fashioned brain power.
5, 4, 3,
Let me ask you, if you were a white male, would you wish to be an engineer?
I wouldn't have to. I'd already be one.
Don't you know that we're able?
I was asleep before. That's how we let it happen. When they slaughtered Congress, we didn't wake up. When they blamed terrorists and suspended the Constitution, we didn't wake up then either. Now I'm awake.
You girls will serve the leaders and their barren wives. You will bear children for them.
I want to keep on living for her.
Do not let them grind you down. You fight.
They should have never given us uniforms if they didn't want us to be an army.
Ooh. Everybody can unmute. Welcome, everybody. So happy to have all of you here. Oh my gosh, that's one of my favorite quotes. They should have never given us uniforms if they didn't want us to be an army.
That was deep.
That was deep. Have you all seen that show?
I have.
No.
I know Amber's like, no, I do not intend on watching it.
I never intended on watching it, but a good friend of mine whose judgment I trust, she liked it. And I was like, okay, let me try it. And I was in on the first episode.
Yes.
And I could not tear myself away.
And the reason for me is because growing up in the kind of church that I grew up in, it was kind of strict. I mean, they weren't forcing us to, be impregnated by the leaders, but just like they controlled every aspect of our womanhood.
Yeah.
We had to wear hats and our skirts had to be at a certain length and they had to be up, covering our necks and just.
That's how my sister is now.
Right, exactly. We couldn't wear open heeled our shoes. We couldn't show our toes. Couldn't wear pants.
Patriarchy. We have to live in the image of some man's idea, and it varies from segment to segment. Doesn't different religions, different cultural edicts. It's never by individual choice.
And we have to do that so that men aren't aroused. It had no one teaches men how to control their hormones.
Mm-hmm.
We are the ones that the responsibility is thrust upon
impulses
to be a certain way so that we don't entice men.
Are you that weak?
Thank you. Thank you.
And that's like such a young age. I remember literally being in like 5th grade and we weren't allowed to wear like shorts or skirts to school because like they didn't want to make the male teachers uncomfortable, which is like disgusting. I'm like, my 45-year-old male teacher shouldn't be looking at me as an 11-year-old who's wearing shorts and I don't have like boobs yet. Like that's
right.
Why is that a thing?
In truth, part of that is a biological imperative. Fathers get really uncomfortable with their daughters when they start to hit prepubescence. They don't want you sitting on their laps anymore because it's a biological reflex. There is much to control. Pardon me?
That's weird.
No, but it's a fact that most of them say, get out of here, go out, go in the other. You can't sit here anymore. It's not because they want it that way.
Yeah, but I know I grew up in my household, and I know other people who did this too. Like me and my sister, my older sister, we weren't allowed to wear certain things in the house.
Mm-hmm.
Like we had to be like fully clothed in the house, and my mom told us that it made our dad uncomfortable. I'm like, why? That doesn't make any sense.
Because he's got eyes. Have you ever seen a male that you've seen across campus or around town that you just kind of went, and it caught your breath? If you're an attractive young prepubescent girl, that's not
my son though.
Right.
It doesn't
right. Like me, I was
in reverse.
A son. If I had a son, my daughter is walking around naked versus my son. Because when my girls were little, I used to let them walk around and air out. That became a joke. Like no Pampers, just air out. But a little boy, I mean, it's no different me being a woman with I guess with just the perversion and that people live with. I guess we have to kind of think that way. I don't know. But anyway, this topic today, I know this topic is it's a little difficult for me, but Sandy and I were talking not too long ago, and this is how this kind of came up. And with the recent current events of this Roe versus Wade, and I'm gonna let Sandy kind of co-host with me today. And we'll just take it from there, because I don't know, I feel like I was just sharing with you all earlier, like I am just finding my voice, and I'm just finding out, how just owning my femininity, owning my womanhood at 53 years old, and that's because society has stripped us. And what I love, why I had Nina and Amber here, being the younger generation, but so powerful women and strong-minded, like my children, they're not pressured to have babies. They don't want to have babies now. They don't have to, where it was a thing for us, where it was kind of like we were being molded. Sharice and Sandy, I don't know for you guys, but we were being molded to become wives, to become mothers. It was almost.
We only had a couple of majors in school. We could become teachers, or we could become hairdressers, or we become moms, married and be moms. Like those were mutually exclusive, and they're not. You mentioned Roe v. Wade to me, and I said, wait a minute. I said, the thing about choice has been a question on the table for many years. How many of you know what year women got the vote?
Forgot.
Was it the 60s? 60?
No.
50?
No, women got the vote.
Nina.
2 votes.
1922.
Oh.
Yeah, you're close. 1918. But here's the thing. Men could vote at 21. Women couldn't vote till they were 30 until 1928. And then women got the vote. So here, we've only had our voice less than 100 years.
Now hold on. That was white people, right? Because black people.
Well, I can't speak to the cultural.
Right. Yeah. No, that's a good point. That is
a very good point. And I know that a lot of that was kept out, although our Constitution was written, and that was an amendment to the Constitution in 1918, that women had the right to vote. They couldn't vote before that. And then they were distinguished from men by age until 1928. So here we are in 2022. It's less than 100 years ago we've been voting. We have a very, very powerful voice as a block of voters, but deciding what you want starts with this, CHAR. You're doing this program for some reason. That's your voice. You're putting it out there to say, hey, we got to know more. We have to share more. And the only way to share is if you trust people enough to talk about what's inside. So, Nina, you have the most interesting expression on your face. What are you thinking?
Nina, that's her photo. That's her profile.
All right, my photo.
That's okay. I was just curious as to what you were thinking, though. Because
real quick, it's a good point what Sharice was just said. So you said women were given the right to vote in 1918
initially,
and I'm looking here. I'm looking. It says in 1920, African American women's suffrage movement.
Yeah, right. The African American women. I don't have that knowledge. I was hoping y'all would.
You found it. You were
looking. Doing the same thing.
You can look. You can keep researching.
But even though it was in the Constitution, it wasn't. It wasn't like, look what's happening now. The minimization of any registered voter of color. I was appalled after the Gore.
The Constitution really wasn't written for us anyway.
For us women?
For women, for Black people.
Right.
Anyone that isn't white.
A white man. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, the ruling class, which was males. And that's the patriarchy. They're supposed to, they think it's their job to, quote, take care of us. How insulting. I know that a lot of guys that are way smarter than I am, but I know there's quite a few that I've had more education than they have. So I don't know that they should be taking care of me necessarily.
Right, exactly.
We can raise the boys. So what have we been doing?
Right.
When my son was born, I decided that I was going to teach him things about his own body, that he needed to pay attention, that he didn't ever be aggressive with a woman, and that if he wanted to date a girl, he better know her parents and really well, because they were going to have to trust him to behave himself, that he was responsible for his choices. But that's a different message than a lot of kids are getting today. Do what you want. You don't have to be accountable. But that's a whole other topic.
That's a whole nother topic.
Women's rights in general. What do you want the right for, Sharice, that you don't have now?
Good question.
I wouldn't say that I don't have rights or that I've been prohibited based on being a woman. I have not personally experienced that type of discrimination against me.
Okay.
But I know it exists.
Right. Sharice, you were brought up in an environment where your parents were very, I don't know, how do I say this? They were very supportive.
They were, so my mother is from the Mississippi Delta, and my father is from Alabama. But where my father grew up reminds me more of the suburbs of Chicago.
Okay.
So he had a little more access than my mother had growing up, but then those two together raised two children in the suburbs of Chicago. And my mother was very, I don't want to say strict, because they weren't strict, but my mother just wanted to retain a lot of control over me. And me being who I was, or who I was going to be, rebelled against all of that. So I fought tooth and nail for my freedom as a child.
Wow.
And my father, I didn't realize this until I got older, but my father was very supportive of me being independent.
Oh, wow.
And my mother tells me that to this day. She said, your father was the one that would he would give me solid food first before my mother was okay with me having solid food as a baby. My father was the one that would let me drive before my mother would let me drive. My father was okay with me having a job before my mother was okay with me having a job.
My dad was like that.
So my father was just very Papa Bird, let them fly, just throw them out the nest. And I'll pick them up if they fall too far, but just let them fly. That was my dad. And so when you were talking about being a child and fathers not wanting their daughters around them because it's uncomfortable for them, I never experienced that with my dad.
I said that they didn't like it when you sat on their lap after you got to be at 11, 12, 13. They got really uncomfortable with it.
No, I grew up around men like that in my family. Yeah.
Because they didn't want to spend time with you. My father was my best friend.
Well, see, I never sat on my father. I don't remember sitting on my father's lap. I just wasn't that kid.
Okay.
None of that. I'm going out to play. Leave me alone.
Yeah, leave me alone. I don't have time for you right now.
Well, let's talk to
that made me think as a mother. Are you a mom, Sharice?
I am. My son is 32.
Okay, so when you were
raised, just look like you're 32.
Thank you.
That's
the goal.
Okay, but when you were a new mom, your job, you keep an eye on that baby. You're making sure he's not swallowing and eating the bugs off the floor. You're keeping his fingers out of the sockets. It's kind of a 24/7 job, right? You're constantly worried that something's going to happen. Well, I think that the men felt that they had to kind of protect women and children from things that they didn't know about because they were deliberately kept from being educated. They were, barefoot and pregnant and in the kitchen. That's what they wanted.
That's not protection.
That was their job. No, but it came under that umbrella. They provided the money. The women cooked the meals. That's the way it was for a long, long time. And then the 60s came, which then leads us right up to Roe v. Wade. I lived through that period. And I'm telling you, I watched girls who were struggling with those pregnancies that happened because some boy talked them into sleeping with them. And now they had this present that they didn't want, and they had to find it illegally. And we're about to face that again. And it's to me, it's appalling, but I still think Nina needs to talk.
Nina, you want to say something?
I'm just soaking it all in. I don't have anything specific to say.
Okay.
Just yet.
Well, how about, I don't know if Amber.
Unless you have like a question for me.
Yeah, like how is this? Have you been following it? What's been happening? What are your thoughts on this?
I have a lot of thoughts.
I know you do.
Can I swear?
Go for it. Go for
Please.
it.
Pissed. I'm so pissed.
Yeah.
Like, it's just, especially, I'm thinking about all the women in my life, including myself, who've been assaulted, and, you know, thank God I didn't get pregnant in any of these circumstances. But I'm like, the fact that now we're gonna have to carry out pregnancies from like rape or something I didn't ask
and
for.
molestation and incest.
Right? It's like it's so, the fact that I have to fight for a body that's mine, and that it's just, you can't really sum it up into words. It's just, it feels like such
a violation.
I genuinely don't have words for it, except for just severe.
It's disgusting.
It's disgusting.
And it's just like the fact that there's people who are solely doing this out of ego and out of wanting more power is just like disgusting. And I just can't, I don't know. It's just like, because if, you know, one of those politicians got someone pregnant, they would find a way to get, you know, that girl an abortion. You know, it's true.
It's true.
And
either
so
kill her and the baby.
Right.
And it's just like, it's just fucked up. There's no other way to put it. There's so much you could say about it, and it's just fucked up. And I hate having to literally fight for my body, my own body. It's like, it's not anyone else's business what I do, what I choose to do. I don't care if you don't like abortion. I don't care if it's because of religion or whatever other reason. That's fine. I don't care. But like, keep it away from me. I like, it's not like I wouldn't sit here saying like I want an abortion. Like,
right.
Woo-hoo. Like, no one's excited to do that.
Right.
They are. That's their thing.
You can be pro-choice without being pro-abortion.
Exactly.
You can be a non-active partner in assisting women to get safe medical treatment. Women died in the 60s.
Exactly.
From bad abortions.
If I got pregnant, I'm diabetic. If I got pregnant right now, I would not be able to carry out a birth. I just can't. I physically cannot hold a child. And in some states, that's murder, apparently, which is not, it's not from anything I did. I didn't ask to have diabetes. It's just the way my body is, and that's fine, but it's not anyone else's business. And it's just, I've seen how traumatizing abortions can be for people. And it's not like people are sitting here like excited to get one. It's just a necessary thing. It's just not fair. And it's
the freedom to choose. I mean, okay, I want each of you to think about this one question. If you were the master of the universe and you got to pick, what would you decide, Charisse, about this issue? This one issue.
I would give people the right to choose what they want to do with their bodies.
How about you, Amber?
Choose, of course.
Choose. Sure.
Definitely choose. And I'm going to add on to my response, because from what I've just recently found out, oh my gosh. Sorry. Did I get lost? Are you all there?
No, you're here.
Okay.
You just recently found out something.
My screen, I don't know where everybody is. My screen just went out on me. I just recently found out that my conception was very traumatic for my mother. And something she will not talk about, but it affected her so bad. I am trying to figure out, like, because we don't have a relationship, and she hasn't been able to love me because of this. And I just, I'm thinking now as an older woman who can just like process the truth in a healthy way. It wasn't fair for her to have to keep this baby that she did not really want. She wasn't prepared to be a mom, and it was forced on her. I wish she didn't keep me. I wish either she had the opportunity to have an abortion or give me up for adoption, because my life now, like for real, my life is like a battlefield every day. Every day. Like I don't have the sense of belonging to someone. So I'm always like in limbo. So that's where I'm at. Choice, most definitely.
And
with regards to this issue of abortion, I've heard several different conversations, and one that seems to resonate with me with regards to why the politicians are pushing it the way that they're pushing it is because of the browning of America. And because of that, they are in this position where they want to put every woman in a position where they're unable to abort. And what that will do is that will save the white race so that this browning of America doesn't happen as fast as it inevitably is going to happen.
That's absurd.
It's absurd because even their own grandchildren are brown.
Right.
And the more they reject it, the browner their grandbabies become.
Isn't
melanin.
They
Planned
get this
Parenthood
lovely cream color.
Cream color. Amber.
Did you see what happened in Nancy?
Sandy,
Planned
1 minute.
Parenthood.
Amber.
Isn't Planned Parenthood, something about the policies in Planned Parenthood is supposed to be reducing the number of Black children, Black births?
No. That's the fallacy. Planned Parenthood was designed so that anybody could get consultation about whether to have the child, to abort the child, or give it up for adoption. Those things were discussed. But see, the government boys are unhappy because they get information about abortion, which is kind of like not teaching sex in school.
Right.
It's kind of we can't tell them, because if they know about it, they'll do it. Don't teach them about protection in sexual matters so they won't get pregnant. Oh no, they want it both ways. They want to just control the situation. Nancy Pelosi, I saw today,
Nina,
she's fighting with a priest over her right to be supportive of choice.
Whoa.
She wouldn't give her Holy Communion.
Whoa. Nina?
I was just gonna bounce off Sharice. I actually saw some of that discourse as well, and it was something like by 2030 or 40 or something that most babies, like most of America, will be people of color. Like it'll be like 50%, and white people will end up being the minority. And I just found it so interesting. This seems so fitting now that they're forcing people to, give birth. Yeah. So it's like, not only is it an attack on women, but it's an attack on poor people. It's an attack on people of color. It's an attack on indigenous communities. And it's just like, it's women, but it's everybody. It's so many more communities that are being targeted in this situation. It's literally just a bunch of wealthy white people who want power and want to keep that power and want to keep this like Aryan race. It's so much deeper than just like
the
women.
surface.
And yes, it's just like, and
there's no logic in that pathway though. How does making people have babies increase the white race? It doesn't.
Well, of course,
It
in their
does.
mind, nothing they do makes sense anyway. I'm just saying.
Ever.
So what you
There's
wind
no
up,
logic.
with,
But
people
there's
being forced to have kids they don't want, and then
there's
they
also
wind up in a situation like Char's in. Amber, go ahead. I'm sorry.
sorry.
Amber.
Hold on. I have an alarm going off. There's maybe it's not Planned Parenthood. I don't remember what it is, but there is an issue with the number of Black maternal health and women of color. There's a really big issue happening with infant mortality, with Black women of color dying in labor. Like it's going down. So forcing women in general to have children and not be able to have abortions, while also reducing the number of Black births and people of color, it is increasing white births.
Well, not in my family.
I was watching a video on TikTok, and it was a young lady who was expressing her political views about this particular issue. And she was saying there was a guy, a white man, who said, no one who doesn't own a gun should be able to tell me what to do with my gun. And she flipped it and said, nobody without a vagina should be able to tell me what I can do with my vagina. And I was like, thank you. Like,
right.
End of discussion.
Shut it down.
Shut it down.
All the
The
way
risk
down.
of pregnancy versus abortion is so much higher because so many things can happen. Blood pressure issues, diabetic issues. It's not an easy task being pregnant. It's a hard load. I had a spontaneous abortion in my first pregnancy, and that's scary. And the thing is I knew women on both sides of this, women who chose to have an abortion, who lived with 30, 40 years of guilt because they did it. Then they met the child and it wasn't the dream they thought it was going to be. There's a lot of these reuniting things on television where the birth child was placed somewhere. The mom was 16 or 17. And then she really doesn't care about mom. She's just pissed off at her. So there's a lot of emotional damage along the way. Either way it happens.
Yeah.
So these guys are treating this like this is an easy choice. I was fortunate enough to not. I was one of those kids that just didn't obey. I didn't have sex till I was in my 20s. So I wasn't at risk of getting pregnant, but we also had access to the pill.
Right.
Pill developed. So that kept that factor. Now what some states are actually passing laws that taking preventive measures is equivalent to aborting the baby, even though you haven't conceived yet. I mean, it's like the priests telling you can't have babies, you can't have sex. But
right.
They were doing the kids, they were doing the nuns. All these babies born in the walls of cathedrals or monasteries, they found dead infants.
Jesus.
I mean, it's like that. Where is the morality really? Whose idea?
It's just okay. Let me ask. So Nina, I just shared a little bit about what happened to my mom, right? And I don't know if you are comfortable. You mentioned something in what you just said about being violated.
Yeah.
How have you been able to process that? I mean, I know you're strong, but that doesn't mean that it doesn't still follow you, like, I'm sorry that happened to you. But, is this person serving? I mean, has he been penalized? I mean, did you?
Well, I wouldn't say in my scenario, it wasn't as like violent as some other women I know. I'm just saying as a whole, like, I think most women and most femme people and people who identify as women, the queer community, like most of us can say, I've been violated sexually. And that can be on a sliding scale of they kissed me without asking, they groped me, or being like violently raped. So in my case, it wasn't as not serious, but like as severe, I guess. But that's a pain. Like for me, like sex is so sacred, and
Yes.
I don't care what you do. Like I've had periods where I've been like a total slut, and like that's fine. But I also now I'm in a space where I'm like it feels harmonious for me and my body and my soul to keep it sacred. And so having had so many kind of non-consensual experiences, that pain and that energy, I think really does like sit with you. And like, I think like our wombs hold a lot of really powerful energy and intelligence. And that stuff comes up like anytime, at least for me, anytime now that I'm like intimate, even with just myself, like that energy will come up because that's such a sacred thing. It's that gives life. And so I don't know, there's just so much that goes into it. So for me, I guess processing it is just like holding space for myself and giving myself the grace to like feel all those feelings. But it is hard, especially with everything going on with this like war on women. Essentially, it just feels like not a safe space to do that healing. And I know I don't know if you guys are familiar with Eckhart Tolle, but he talks about the pain body. And I feel like he talks about the collective pain body of women, of indigenous people, of, you know, all these groups of people and that have experienced so much pain. And so having this happen feels like it's tuning into this, not only a pain for me, but a pain that I know my mother's felt, I know you guys have felt. And it's just like, it just goes so deep. And on some level, it's weirdly comforting to know that I'm not the only one who's experienced that. But at the same time, it's horrifying because I'm not the only one who's experienced that pain.
Exactly.
So it's like, I don't know. I'm so sick of having to like fight for my body and fight for something that shouldn't be in question.
Right.
And it's like
what are you going to do about it?
Everybody, you know, should be able to choose what they want to do. So it's just so, it just doesn't make any sense to me. And it's just like so infuriating.
So what are you going to do with your anger? What can you do with it to make it work? Okay, how are you going to do that?
Educate myself, listen, have conversations, vote.
You talk to your congressman or your senator? Have you written to them copiously?
You put too much faith in these people, Sandy.
Right, Amber. But still, I agree with Amber, but that is what I want. I don't want the conversation just to be, oh, we're talking amongst ourselves about what's happening in the world, but freedom of choice, freedom of speech.
Yeah.
What do we do as a community of women to have control of our bodies? What do we do? So Sandy, you're saying that's something that we should be diligently doing, is talking to
the politicos. Start with the dog catcher. I don't care. Get your neighborhood groups, your churches together, the people in your churches to break this down into something where you're more of a collective in a place and say, storm the Bastille, so to speak. Thing is we've been given mixed messages. As children, as girls especially, we were told, oh, no, sex is bad for you. But we're equipped for sexual behavior.
It's so bad.
We're equipped by the time we're
Nita's like, what? Because Nita's mom has just given them freedom just to love your body. You choose to do what you want to do. I never knew what that was.
Well, now you do. The thing is that when we were kids and we become equipped, we become sexual in feeling at around 12, 13, when all the puberty kicks in. We don't know what the hell to do with it, but they're just feelings that arise. And over here, we're being told, no, you can't answer that. And over here, we're saying, oh, yes, I need you to satisfy me. And I'm going, wait, this is screwed up. First of all, you came into the world with the ability to eat and drink. And when your sexual activity begins and you're wired for it, it's procreation of the species. That's how we survive. What is this business of saying no to it? We've been told we're only supposed to be with the man we marry. Christ, we don't even buy a car without trying different ones.
You better say that, Sandy.
What?
I said, you better say that.
I mean, seriously. So how do you know what's the right guy until whether the chemistry's right? So we're being told to withhold. And I don't know how much you guys know about the Middle East and what goes on over there. You ever heard of a clitoridectomies?
Yeah, that happens in Africa. Oh, Amber, if you have to go, baby.
Oh, that's a
go, Amber.
Yeah.
No, it's fine. Go ahead.
I know. That's in Africa. That happens quite a bit, right, Charisse?
Yeah, it does.
And what's that for? It's for male pleasure. They want to sew the vaginal opening smaller to guarantee the woman has not had sex ahead of time. And then they also remove the clitoris so that she can't feel pleasure. So it isn't
without anesthesia.
Without anesthesia.
With nothing.
Right. And this
no
is
pain, nothing.
The mothers accept.
Bastards.
The women of that culture accept that. Because if they don't, then they get their hands cut off or they're killed themselves.
That's not accepted.
Women are not respected anywhere. We have it better than some right here in America.
We do.
But the thing is that there's nobody protecting Arab women in this country. If it's a religious practice, they're subjected to that behavior right here in this country.
Yeah.
So our rights have been minimized.
They have been.
They give it to us. People in power do not give up power. You have to literally take it from them. And the way you take it from them is you vote their asses out.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And we women are majority. There are more girl babies born than boy babies.
But unfortunately, there are a lot of women who are on the side of those who want to take those rights away. So it's like,
it's funny you say that because Will just said, what was it? He wrote something.
Will is here. Hi, Will.
He's on in Facebook Live. He said,
hey, buddy.
He said 55% of white women voted for Trump and others who are anti-choice voting against their own interests. Hi, Kim. I see you, girl. Yeah, Will has a lot of great points here as well. And I love that our men are actually just as informed and fighting with us for our rights.
These are the guys that became feminists before we even understood what that meant. I mean, look at who was the woman that who started the whole bra burning period. She's still alive.
I know who you're talking about.
I can't get her name right now. This is what age does to you. She, thanks to her, she and Jane Fonda, people like them, that just went out and said, "Oh no, you're not going to do this to me." So you, at your young age, Nina and Amber, you have a lot more years left than we have. All we've done is kind of manage the chaos here. My age, I had to come through the 60s with the riots and everything else and watch my country just crazed and not understanding it because I was taught a totally different thing. And I was not seeing any love thy neighbor. There was a contradiction to what I thought the way the world was. Because we grow up from the inside out. You're born into a family, mom and dad, brothers and sisters, aunts and uncles, the school, the church start to shape you. It's not until you get to college that you actually see some more of the world. I mean, the folks of the world. I've met Africans and Iranians and East Indians and Germans and I didn't know anything about other cultures until I went to college because I was in my neighborhood.
Gloria Steinem?
That's it. She's the one. Good girl.
Okay.
I feel like that's America in general, Sandy. Like, I feel like we're all in a bubble here.
Yeah, we're all in our own little bubbles. So my question was, what do you personally want to do to know that you gave it everything you had to say no to these politicians?
I'm not doing anything.
For the writing campaign, that helps. If you get 100 people in your district together to write letters to the congressman, you can bet your ass they're going to start listening.
Okay. Okay.
Get a petition going. That's how it all starts. A petition. We're not going to, hell no. What is it? We're not going to take this.
Hell
anymore.
no, we won't go.
No, it's that we're not going to take this anymore thing. There was another theme, you know, and I don't think the pussy hats actually ever worked, but it did make a point.
The what?
Wait, break that down. What was that? I'm not familiar.
That was back when
during the Trump election. The pussy hats were women saying no.
I didn't know
that was what that was all about.
I didn't know that either.
When all of those women converged on the
Capitol.
The Capitol.
Yeah, they marched, hundreds of thousands of them.
Yeah.
Wow.
And they were fighting for rights of you and me and every other small town where people didn't have such resources. Those of us who feel strongly need to act instead of just discuss.
Yes, yes. Well, I'm on it. I will be a part of that movement. And
there is an app that I've learned about listening to Urban View on Sirius XM, and it's called 5 Calls app. And if you pull it up on your phone, what it does is it plugs you with your senators, your congressmen, all of the elected officials in your area. Mm-hmm. And you can, I'm not exactly sure of how it works because I only tried it once and that was a while ago, so I can't remember. But I know that it works and they push it a lot on these political shows. So this would probably be one of those times where you would want to pull up the 5 Calls app and get a message to your senators, your representatives, everybody.
I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
Do you guys think, do you guys really believe that this is a democracy, that we actually have a say in how our government is run and the policies that are made?
Yes.
I believe it.
We're just not a big enough voice yet. We have to have a collective.
I believe it is, because if it wasn't, they wouldn't try so hard to take our vote away from us.
They're scared to death.
Tobias,
The old white boy machine, they're scared to death.
Tobias, I agree.
I don't think so at all.
Right.
That's
why, yeah.
I think that there's so many, I don't know. No. And you see it time and time again. I don't think so. And
they have their own agenda. So that's, I feel like it's go ahead.
No, I don't think, I think they have their own agenda, and I don't think we live in a democracy, and I don't trust really most politicians at all. And I'm saying that from like a white privilege perspective. I can't imagine what it's like to be in any sort of marginalized group, because what the fuck?
So here's why I believe that it works, but you have to be steadfast in your process.
Mm-hmm.
The Tea Party, when they got together, they made change, but they got together. That's the key. The Trumpians, when they got together, they made change. The problem with Democrats and liberals is we fight too honestly. We don't fight dirty. We're very fair. And when you're fighting against people who don't care, you have to have you have to fight in the same vein. You can't care. You have to fight and keep fight and fight dirty if you have to fight dirty, because you can't go up against these people being nice. I know Michelle Obama told us when they go low, we go high. But you can't always go high.
But you did it. Listen to this. My aunt is watching, and she's just commenting on how powerful this is tonight. This topic is tonight, and she says,
"Hi, Auntie."
Yeah, yes, hi, Auntie Faye. You all need to run for public office, grassroots community development. Tackle one elephant at a time, because there are so many elephants to conquer. So,
run for dog catcher. Run for the postmaster. It doesn't matter if you activate. If you activate, then I never felt as hopeless as I did as during the Trump campaign.
Oh my
I
God.
was seeing something, the worst. I mean, I've been through since Ike. I'm born and Ike was president. So I saw these various people coming and going. And what I did notice is a sort of an apathy. It really makes me sad, Nina, as young as you are, that you don't think we have a democracy.
Well, it's because the first time I was allowed to vote was in Trump's election. So my politics painted because there's all these disgusting, like, old white men taking away mine and everyone else's rights except for their own. So it's hard to like have faith in that when all I see is people's rights being stripped away. And the more that I learn about how little rights we do have and how like fucked up this country is, it's just like, yeah, of course I'm not gonna
This country's a joke.
Exactly.
Anything else out there.
Traveling, this country's a joke. This country's an actual joke. All my friends from elsewhere think we're ridiculous.
We are ridiculous.
It is true. It's true. Tobias just made a comment. He said the government is designed for CIS.
Yes.
What is it?
It's straight male, like
cis male-born.
Male-born men, white men.
Okay,
who
white
don't identify
straight
as
men.
otherwise.
Okay, so it's for cis white straight men. He says, I believe that until it is destroyed and redesigned for the fairness of all people, then no one will have equal rights. I know we're coming close to, thanks Tobias for that. We're coming close to the end, but
oh my God, that was an hour.
I know.
That was
We're
quick.
gonna have to pick this up. We're gonna have to.
I took notes, Char. I took notes for you.
Come on. We're gonna have to continue this, but before we go, my daughter is here and she offered to share her story briefly. Okay. All right. Sure.
Hi, everybody.
Hi.
Hey there.
Nice to see you again.
Yes, Crystal, her youngest. In 2011, I had an abortion and I made the decision outside of pressure from my partner. My thoughts on it is just that nobody like takes something away and ends it there. They want to take it away to then control. You know, I would not be able to live with myself if he said, you have to do this take me here and have this abortion. And that would be the end of it. You know, somebody else controlling my life, the life growing within me. Anywho, really just saying like, I can't imagine if I had a child by this person at this time in my life. The drain on my energy, the drain on my future resources would have destroyed my future, you know, because this person wasn't enhancing my life. And while I believe in pro-life, I also believe in pro-choice. And I think that you can be both.
Yes.
I believe every life is precious, but if it doesn't enhance you, you're not obligated to make that decision to continue on. So I just don't think that, you know, like they have so many rules in government and so many things that do not help the people. People come here for freedom.
Well, congratulations to you for making that independent choice.
Thank you.
And somebody said on Facebook the other day, it was really brilliant. The government cares about pro-life until the child is here, because they don't provide food and they don't provide medical care.
Exactly.
So it's really just a joke.
I was just about to say, Obama made a quote some years ago and he said, you have to be pro-life for the whole life.
Right.
You can't just be pro-life for the 9 months. And once the baby's here, you strip away all of the resources available to keep that.
There has been a decided, and to me overall, overarching, has been a decided attempt to factionalize color versus non people of non-color. I don't care if you're Italian or German or French. The Northern Europeans had whiter skin. So if you start factionalizing this group and making it a more black versus white issue or color versus, then it makes people still polarized. Listen, we got to be on the same team. It's like going to the football game and rooting for the Chicago Bears. Whoever's in that stadium, you don't care what color they are, as long as they're rooting for your team. We have to all unite as a team and say, fuck you sons of bitches. We're not fighting with each other. We're not going to go according to your plan, because if they keep us separate, we can't mass together to defeat them at the polls.
Yeah.
So go out and get people to vote. Yeah, go ahead. Go for it.
But going off of that also means listening to people of color's like perspectives and stories and lives, and listening to their experiences.
Exactly.
Because it's like, that's fair to say like, oh, we shouldn't polarize each other. But I feel like a lot of times, especially now, like white people will say that and then kind of ignore the experience of women of color and people of color. So I think it's important to like share these perspectives and also like really listen and gain knowledge about each other's different experiences, so that we can band together and can like tackle this issue. But without the discourse and without the conversations from our varying perspectives, like we can't have that. It's just impossible.
Absolutely.
And Nina, I wanted to say thank you for saying what you said earlier, where you said you recognize that as a woman, a white woman with privilege.
Mm-hmm.
That means a lot to me, because a lot of women, white women, act as if we don't know that they have privilege just based on their skin color.
Right.
And once you can just admit that, then we can have a conversation.
Oh, yeah.
Let me tell you, Nina and her mom and her sister, I mean, her mom is a badass. Like, she's a sister. She's my sister from another mister.
She's invited to the cookout.
She is awesome. And she's raised some phenomenal young women. They're just so open-minded. I love that they're thinking, they're not clueless to the truth. And that's why it's easy for me to have conversations with them.
Absolutely.
Crystal had something to say.
So when I was walking out here, I heard you all say like the US is a joke and like, nobody takes it seriously. And while I agree with that, I like to play devil's advocate. People come here because of the variation of freedom that they don't have where they're at.
Exactly.
So we have an opportunity, we have a platform to like make this a truly fantastic country with inclusion and diversity, but we need the people that are in charge to actually pay attention.
Right.
Oh, it's bullshit, but we're sitting on the toilet.
I say it's bullshit, but we're sitting on a gold mine ran by, shitters.
The country was founded on immigrants. The country was founded on immigrants. It's on the Statue of Liberty. Every time I see it, it makes me weep.
I wouldn't call them immigrants.
Because?
This country was founded on immigrants? Who are you referring to?
I mean, the American Indians were here, but the people that migrated here, the immigrators,
the
colonizers.
Philosophy.
Okay, but here there's been a decided effort to stop folks from the South, from Hispanics out of the country. Why? Because they're voters. They don't let them. We've got people working that are not on the registry. They're not paying taxes, and therefore they can't vote. But they're being supported in part by the government funding because they're without funds. So let's make them citizens. let's make them be a part of the tax base. Do you realize that the Mexican population exploded when American farmers didn't want to pay American wages for their workers? So they went to Mexico in trucks and brought them across the border, many of whom died, by the way, because the trucks were not refrigerated. And so they cooked inside these trucks. But nobody has held those farmers accountable for the migration of those particular folks. And they never left because they were dropped somewhere in Central California, Nebraska, or wherever. They didn't know how to get home. All they wanted to do was feed their families. So what is the deal? Why have we turned people from Mexico into just drug dealers and rapists and all that. How did that come to be a part of the American thought process? You know, give us your tired, your poor. What is it on the it's our Statue of Liberty? The French gave us that because we stood for something. We as a country stood for something. And all of the immigrants, and my grandfather came here in 1916. I don't know about the rest of you, but I think my lucky stars that he did that because I wouldn't be here otherwise.
But that's for certain people, right? Everybody.
You're an immigrant too.
I'm an immigrant, but we all don't have the same benefits that's others.
My great grandfather was General Winfield Scott.
Mm-hmm.
And you can look him up, but he had slaves, and that's where my lineage comes from.
Well, I'm a direct line to Captain Kidd, a pirate on one side. The other side was a Sicilian. The thing is we're all a mixture. Pretty soon, I said the solution to all of our racial problems is going to be when everybody becomes one color.
Absolutely.
We're all blended.
Everybody. I mean, but that's a wish and a desire, and it sounds so simple, and some of us are open to it. But
why is that a desire?
For everybody to be what?
I'm so confused. Why is that a desire for everyone to be one color? Why does everybody need to be the same?
No, not the same, but it being inclusive, like just accept people as humans. Bottom line, we're all human. Though we're different, we're always going to be different. But bottom line is
What are you saying about the Mexicans? I'm confused.
What am I saying about the Mexicans?
Yes. Yeah. Wait, hold on.
They're trying to come to this country to provide for better families. They're trying to get jobs. And they're not necessarily drug dealers and killers. That's what they've been defined as being. That's why they wanted to build a wall to keep them out. But the real fear, I think, is that they're going to get here and they're going to become citizens, and then they're going to have a vote. And folks who are the white establishment do not want that vote. So, I mean, if you look at the big picture and look at 50 years from now, it was predicted that, and in California, it's true. Right now, the Hispanic population is 51% of California. The Hispanics didn't settle in Iowa or Nebraska, but they can move into those states.
Amber, what's going on? Speak.
I'm just very I'm not really getting what Sandy is saying. I'm not understanding. I think because I'm looking at it, okay, my perspective is that this country is a joke, right? This country's lost all credibility in my eyes. So when she's talking about people migrating, people whose ancestors have been here for like who knows how long, migrating into the US, it sounds crazy to me. Like I don't understand what she's
saying. Okay. We used to have a place called Ellis Island where people knew from all over the world where to go to enter this country. We don't have an Ellis Island anymore. There's no clearinghouse. You had to go through checks and balances. You had to be sponsored. There was all kinds of checks and balances. They closed Ellis Island. So where should foreigners come to enter this country to reach for the American dream? They don't have a way in.
Where did the first foreigners come from?
Well, you need to talk to Columbus about that. He landed.
We're not talking to Columbus or anybody associated. We say hang them, hang them. Real quick, Tobias is coming on screen. He has something to say.
Tobias wanted to extend. Did you answer him?
Yeah. Yes. So I think basically what the issue is that we don't need to become together as one color. That we really don't. We need to remain.
Metaphor. Sorry.
Yeah, I knew what she meant.
We gotta remain like our own separate ways to be able to understand each other, and that's the issue with this country. Like, yeah, I agree with Amber. The country's shit, but the thing about the country being shit is that it needs to be dismantled, how I said earlier. It needs to be dismantled and be reworked so that it works for everyone. And that's the issue. It doesn't work for everyone. It works for cis, white, straight, male, and that's it. Anybody else that does not fit in that category, it doesn't fit in that box, they're going to have issues. I mean, I understand if you're white, you're going to have other privileges. And whether you're male, you're also, if you're a cis male, you're also going to have, or you present as male, you're going to have other privileges in this earth. And that's the issue. The issue is that we need to all understand each other. And the issue is that once we understand each other and we come together in this boiling pot of people that came from different areas around the world to this country from various ways, whether it was being colonization or whether it was because of choice or whether it was because we didn't have a choice of coming here, we need to all come together and understand what do we need as a country to be able to move forward? Because right now, the only people that are getting anything out of this country are cis, white, straight, male.
And that's say that again.
So I have a question. As sucky as America is, where can you go where it's better?
That question always comes up, but like, I don't
true
feel like
though.
it's okay, it's true. But even if you don't have an answer to that question, even if we don't have a better place to go right now, it doesn't negate the fact that this is not it. Like America is not it.
Right. It's not it, but where is it to be? Well, I mean, what are you comparing it to? What place is better?
I'm comparing it to, I guess the place doesn't exist, but just what life should be in general. Like what?
So imagine with the rights that you have to voice your opinion about how shitty America is, where else can you go in this world and voice that same opinion about the government and the politics and have the freedom to live?
I think you can
safely.
actually do that. I think you can actually do that. And that's part of this bubble mindset of being in America. I think that we're like...
It's not so much a bubble. And I hear what you're saying. It's not so much a bubble because it's a reality. Even though a lot of our freedom is not free, we do have the freedom of speech, but there are consequences to that freedom. I don't know that there's any place right now that I would rather be and deal with what I'm dealing with than right now and in this space.
Right. But how many other countries have you experienced? What other governments do you personally know about?
I don't have to experience it when I know other people who have. So when I know other people who come from other areas and have expressed to me what their democracy or lack of democracy is like, it makes me feel like, okay, well, maybe I'm in the better place right now. I'm not disagreeing with you. America could be a whole lot better, but because it was founded on, first of all, it was stolen.
Right.
So we have to deal with that part.
Mm-hmm.
It was stolen. And then everything that was built up from the stealing of that was only to benefit, as Tobias said, cis white men. We're continuously fighting for something that was never meant for us to have.
Right.
But because we're fighting and because we've been in the fight, we have certain privileges and certain rights that other people don't necessarily have those rights. And that's why you find a lot of people running here to find those, to have that freedom. Again, it's not perfect, but I would rather be here.
It's far from perfect. And I think it's actually an illusion. I know that people come here for certain freedoms, but the fact of the matter is some of our freedoms are like actively dwindling every day, like right under our noses. And I don't think that this country is something that can be amended or tweaked. I think it's something that actually needs to be like demolished and built from the ground up.
What are you willing to do to change it? It comes down to that.
I'm not doing anything.
Huh?
I'm not doing anything.
You're not going to do anything?
No.
You're just going to let it collapse?
Yes.
That's a shame.
It's not a shame. It's not a shame because this country
is saying anybody needs to take up arms. You use the power of the pen. Use your voice.
Nina, I can't hear you.
I think it's going to collapse regardless, though. Like whether I speak up and fight for my rights or not, I think it's going to crumble because it's a fucking disaster right now. And I think it needs to crumble, as Amber's saying, because it's the foundation of this country is literally built on a fallacy and again, serving, as Tobias said, cis white men. And
what does that term mean? What does cis white mean?
a man who was born a man, identifies still as a man,
and is straight.
Okay. So the most privileged group of people in the whole world, a cis straight white man. Okay.
So here's where I because I'm on the border. I'm on the more mature Sandy and Sharice. Let's get in this fight and let's do something. Let's let our voices be heard. And I'm also like Amber and Nina. It's just like, well, what is the purpose of fighting something that's just, it's on the verge of crumbling? The only reason why I would lean more to be a part of letting my voice be heard and joining in the fight in some way, you know, is we have to almost like intercept, because do you not know that these cis white males are going out knocking door to door, like what the Jehovah Witnesses and all those people, knocking and recruiting people to join forces with them. I don't know if I showed you all that video. I'll see if I can pull it up really quick.
What is that, the KKK?
No, not the KKK, where they were meeting in a, oh God, like almost like doing the Hail Hitler thing. Hail Trump, Hail Trump. Well, you all talk. I'm gonna see if I can find it and pull it up.
I feel like there's always been groups like that.
Was
But,
it
they're brewing behind the scenes. So if we keep silent, they're gonna get stronger.
Oh, what are they called? Proud Boys?
That might be it.
Coeur d'Alene, Ohio has a whole military enclave of people who are ready to tear America down in just the way that you seem to think should happen, except who's going to step into the role of the managing of the rest of the country if that happens. If there's insurrection, full insurrection, wow, I can't even imagine what will happen to the rest of us.
I'm not fighting for this country, just speaking for myself.
Well, not fighting for the country, but fighting for our rights, for us.
No, but that is, I know, but ultimately that you're fighting for, like, to save the country, basically.
I'm going to fight for whatever it is I need to fight for in order to retain whatever it is that I have.
Okay.
So whatever that looks like, I'm going to fight for it because it's mine.
Yeah. When you make a list of the things that you want and you say, well, I'm going to write to my congressman because this shouldn't be happening. So for example, I called my congressman at least 4 times because I get rude calls every day from vendors, and they've given, the FCC has given permission for them to make fake phone numbers to call my house several times a day. I'm 75 years old. I don't need my nap interrupted. I can't get my congressman to function, but I'm going to keep bugging him because I told him, you're going to mess around and only support veterans? Good for you. You have other constituents and your ass won't be in office too much longer.
I feel like I shouldn't beg for this shit though. I shouldn't have to beg to have rights for my body. That's
Nina, do you know about the Pluto return?
Oh girl, yes. I'm an astrology bitch. Are you?
Yes.
Yeah, so this country is gonna crumble as for the stars. Not kidding.
Look, Amber was just talking about that today.
Yes.
I'm dead serious. Any in history, any country that's gone through their Pluto return has fallen. So just throwing that out there.
Right. That's another reason why I don't feel the urgent, like I don't feel obligated to step in, because I know that what's going to happen is going to happen regardless. Like no matter what we do, it's going to happen.
I trust that I trust the collapse of whatever's gonna happen will happen. If it doesn't happen, fine. But like, I just think there's so many problems that need to be fixed where it's like, I think we just literally need to like eradicate like what's like the foundation of this country.
Well, that's a part of the fight. That's a part of speaking out.
I think I don't want to say I don't know. I have mixed feelings about all of this because half of me is like, what's the point? Because I feel like I'm not heard and I'm not listened to. But the other half of me is like, I can't just sit back because
I was right there with you guys. I don't watch the news. I mean, I don't want to hear anything that's happening. But mind you, they're becoming a stronger army You know, Sandy, thank you so much for being here. Sandy has to go, everybody. So we appreciate you.
Thank you, Sandy.
To the conversation today. We'll pick it up.
All of you are terrific, and your minds and your thoughts and feelings are all important. But I can't do anything with them. Maybe somebody who's in power can. That's what I'm saying is if you give yourself a chance to speak, you might have some result. Depression is the inability to function. If you do something on behalf of yourself, you can feel better about it. I see the look of fatalism in you, Amber and Nina, and it disturbs me.
No, but it makes sense because this is the younger generation. They're seeing a lot.
We've grown up. Amber, I don't know how old you are. I'm 24. Like my
30.
whole, all I've seen is like just immense destruction in our government, and so it's like my first memory is like 9/11 of like. So it's just like there's always been like all these insane things happening. So it's hard for me to like have faith in our country because it's just like there's been like the fact that Trump was literally president is still mind-boggling to me. So,
Right.
That's
if you let that happen, like what else are you gonna let
like
happen?
what else
right.
happen?
But again, do you see what I'm saying? Because
I don't want like I don't want to fight because I guess like going back to the privilege thing, like I feel like it's unfair of me to just be like, oh well, because I have way more of a voice being right and being an upper middle class. Like I have that power to like speak and learn, and I should use that privilege to speak and learn and amplify voices that don't typically get to speak. You know what I mean? So it's like I don't want to be like, oh, that sucks. Like, I'm just going to give up because it's easy for me to do that.
Exactly.
Friend in the last election who's like, I'm just not going to vote. And I was like, no. I'm like, this isn't about you and me. This is about marginalized groups. Like you, like Trump cannot be in power. That's not fair for so many reasons and for so many people. So I'm like, it's not fair of me to just be like, I'm going to give up. But it's like I at the same time again I don't have faith in our government, and I
don't have faith in them at all. And I don't even think that we need to have faith in them. But I think
learning how to like have a voice and like move not like around them, but like do something outside of I don't know.
But that's it. But we gotta start together, like become a force.
Yeah.
My focus is on preparing. I'm more like mentally, I'm more concerned with what to do when it's over. Like that's just personally.
What if you don't make it out?
Personally.
What if it becomes so bad where you don't even make it out when it's over?
What do you mean make it out? Like die?
Like that's what you just said. You said you're planning for when it's over to be able to migrate somewhere else or.
Oh, well, no, not necessarily. Well, yeah, I definitely want to leave the US regardless.
Because like, they're trying to take us out, right? You know they're trying to
I hate it here. I hate it here. I really hate it here. But they're trying to take you out.
Okay. Look, I'm not gonna say too much. Look.
What happened?
Facebook. No, we'll talk about it later.
Oh.
Yeah.
The chat.
We'll talk about it later.
I forgot about that. I'm sorry, guys. I hope I'm not offending anybody.
No, don't apologize. Do not apologize. No.
I'm very unpatriotic.
No, I'm not either. I'm Jamaican. I am not. But I'm going to tell you, my mom brought us here because it's supposed to be the land of opportunities. Mm-hmm. I mean, we have advanced in more ways than we would have being back home in Jamaica. But I mean, there's still ways that we're still held back in being able to be progressive. You know, Tobias, you ready to play that?
Hail Trump! Hail our people! Hail victory! No one will honor us for losing gracefully. No one mourns the great crimes committed against us. For us, it is conquer or die. The mainstream media, Or perhaps we should refer to them in the original German, Lügenpresse. It's not just that they are leftist and cucks. It's not just that many are genuinely stupid. Indeed, one wonders if these people are people at all. Or instead soulless golem, animated by some dark power to repeat whatever talking point John Oliver stated the night before. To be white is to be a striver, a crusader, an explorer, and a conqueror. We build, we produce, we go upward. And we recognize the central lie of American race relations. We don't exploit other groups. We don't gain anything from their presence. They need us and not the other way around. Within the very blood in our veins as children of the sun lies the potential for greatness. That is the great struggle we are called to. We are not meant to live in shame and weakness and disgrace. We were not meant to beg for moral validation from some of the most despicable creatures to ever populate the planet. We were meant to overcome all of it, because that is natural and normal for us. The press has clearly decided to double down and wage war against the legitimacy of Trump and the continued existence of white America. But they are really opening up the door for us. America was, until this past generation, a white country designed for ourselves and our posterity. It is our creation. It is our inheritance, and it belongs to us.
I guarantee there's rapists in that room. 100%.
1,000%.
You guarantee what?
There's rapists in that room.
Oh, I
There's
mean,
all kinds of mental illness in that room.
yeah, they're racist, so I don't put anything else past them.
Exactly. You all check him out. There's an interview with Charles Barkley and this guy and the things that's coming out his mouth. I'm just like, whoa.
When you brought it up, I knew you were talking about Richard Spencer, but I just didn't get a chance to say his name before you played the video. But I'm very familiar with him.
The reason why it's important to get to know this person is because this is what's brewing behind the scenes right now.
Yeah.
This
But
is the stuff
Char, I understand what you're saying, but like literally the country was founded by people like them though.
Well, it wasn't founded by them. They stole it. They're thieves. They're terrorists.
The country, America.
The new
was
America.
Founded, right.
Yeah.
Was like the forefathers, or that's what they call them, forefathers. They had that mentality. Like they've always been here. Those groups have always been here. That's what I'm saying.
So do we just kowtow to them and just let them take over? I don't understand.
I don't personally think that they're going
it.
to take over. That's but I mean,
You don't think?
No, but there's a lot more that goes into that why I'm saying that. And a lot of it is spiritual. So
Okay.
I'll just,
Okay. They're actually going, like I said, they're going door to door. These people, door to door, knocking on the doors, trying to conform people to this belief. There's an agenda. There's an agenda. So while they have an agenda, we cannot be ignorant. We cannot be ignorant to the truth of what's going on. We can't cower. We can't be afraid. But anyway, these are the people that's back to the topic, trying to take our power away as women, take our voices away. And not just women. I mean, there are men, and there's the LGBTQ community. I mean, there's so many, whoever they think is not worthy, whoever they think they don't consider human.
Yeah.
Did they say children of the sun? Because that really got me. Children of the sun?
I heard that.
What?
There's so much in that I couldn't fathom was like
right.
genuinely coming out of that man's mouth. I was like, what? I think the irony is sorry, a little bit back off talk, but he said something about like them stealing our land or them stealing and I was like, this is stolen land, buddy. Like
everything he said was like completely backwards.
Like this is like learn about history. Let's talk about it.
But that's their whole thing. They take history and they rewrite it every time they speak. They create their own narrative. They I mean, they're agents of confusion.
Yeah.
For their own agenda. It's like scary because like I realized in college, like my whole life, I had learned such a false like history of the United States.
Yeah,
and it was
all of us.
Like, class on American history in college. My professor was like, buckle your seatbelts. Like I'm about to teach you about real American history. And I learned about just like so much injustice and just the most fucked up stuff. So it's like scary that like that perspective, like while not everyone has that extreme of a perspective, it's still like a lot of people kind of do have that perspective, but just on a like lighter scale, I suppose.
And the fact that that groups like that are even allowed to exist and prosper is one of the many reasons that I don't have faith in this government. Because if that was a Black group, that wouldn't be a Black group. Like they wouldn't be allowed to form. They wouldn't be allowed to have meetings like that, especially in public. Because those groups like that, they're allowed to have meetings in public. And I'm pretty sure there's a Nazi party in the government. Isn't there still in 2022 a Nazi party in the government?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I'm Thomas Robb. I'm here with Imar Nance, and he's with BBC.
Yeah.
We're here having an enjoyable conversation about my involvement with the Knights of the Ku Klux Klan. I'm National Director, and welcome here to the Ozarks.
Thank you very much. Really appreciate this. This is the highlight of my career.
The highlight of your career.
Honestly, I'm being real with you. First off, Thomas, could you just tell us about the KKK?
When people hear the name KKK, all kinds of images come to their mind. We read in history books that the Klan were organized to subdue and put down Black people. The purpose we don't view ourselves as being anti-Black. We want to preserve our heritage, we want to preserve our culture, we want to preserve our identity.
You want to stay white. There's nothing racist about that.
Absolutely.
It really annoys me when people say that the KKK is racist, because there's nothing pointing towards the KKK being racist at all. How did you start your journey with the Ku Klux Klan? Did you get like assigned? Did they like start you off on like quests or anything?
I was always involved in.
I don't care what he's involved in, if I'm honest. I just wanted to move on to the more important questions.
Have you seen any of like the other clans out there? I've seen clans like FaZe Clan, Optic Clan. I just think they're idiots. No one would be a higher prestige level than you.
Years ago, I used to go and speak for some other clan. But after a while, I thought these guys are idiots. Yeah, I didn't want to be connected to these people, so I finally stopped speaking to other groups. And so I feel that if I would have joined and pursued a career, I could have been very successful in those careers also.
Yeah, they mean well, but they just don't have what it takes to take their clan to the levels of the Ku Klux. Would there be someone from FaZe Clan here?
I don't know. We don't ask.
Optic.
I don't ask.
Yeah. Oh, fair.
Church.
So we don't discriminate in this church.
Maybe we do. I don't know.
Oh, yeah, he's laughing.
Maybe we do, because everybody's not welcome in our church. I'm sorry.
So could I come to this church? No. Okay. No, makes sense. Yeah. No, fair enough. What do you think of the people who say that you're racist?
What do you mean by a racist?
Someone who doesn't like Black people or has prejudices towards Black people.
Even those words don't. What do those words mean? I've got prejudice. Of course I do. Everybody has prejudice.
Sorry, was that a dumb question?
I mean, I prefer being around white people. I'm sorry, that's the way it is, you know?
Oh, you no, but like I'm like a supporter of you, so including me, like you prefer being around white people.
I'll be your friend, but you're not going to come over to my house for a barbecue.
Oh, you wouldn't invite me?
No.
Oh, fair enough. Yeah, yeah, makes sense. And is that because of color?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
I'm a separatist. I preserve my own people. And I'm not offended by if a Black person says, hey, I prefer being around other my Black brothers. Fine, I understand that. I prefer being around my family than some strange family.
Me personally, as a fan of you, I'm not trying to portray the KKK is racist, because I've never seen anything racist by the KKK.
It goes back to the idea of what is a racist. If a racist is someone who hates Black people and wants to do them harm or something like that, then obviously I have no desire to see misfortune come to a Black child. I have no desire for that. I feel compassion for a young black mother whose child get caught up in the drugs or gets shot by a drive-by shooting. I feel as much compassion for them. I got to qualify that. I probably feel more compassion for a white child. I just have to say that.
Oh my God.
First of all, he needs to do a DNA check because he looks very Hispanic.
Oh my God. Okay, so what we're gonna do is we're gonna end the live and we can continue our discussion, okay?
Okay.